Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So, we knew a minute gone at the sala. We approach me Togme, ni we did yan or the yan or so market the market legal gold that sonotoina, and he did it. We got me party that to Pendleton, yes, it is.
If you find it difficult to keeping the focus on breathing, then you will find it very helpful to just trying to simply just being aware that of this the inhaling and exhalings as you breathe in and out. So just aware that the breath that you are now, that I am now inhaling, and just breathing in, and just then aware of I'm breathing out.
Yeah, Shuchine, yeah, G will Trunkajane. G ni Rosinini, ya G me ni so Teniso Trunkajane, this Anit Trunkana, this Jawaina, ya, but it will never dissipate with me, is.
And the another good method is just in this when you do the breathing meditations. So you simply you mentally count your round of breathings, like in breathing in and out, and then just count 1, and then in and out 2. So if you just keep the mind, just keep remembering and mentally counting these round of breathings. So it says that this is also very effective in keeping the mind on the breath.
Tangazundi Ganil ta Pashitu Kote Tati into Digita Yes, Tanan Diune Done Sui Chija, Ta Chijasena, Dawajasena, or Tandila Laji Kotizawali Sujon, the Tenemachi, or Shuel Desembechi. So
just assuming that so we finish our discussion on the 6 perfections, and so now what follows after this is there's a 4 dharmas, or the 4 like the synthesis, as taught in the sutras.
Dan done Zupigani, the Vajil Lapase Tela, Yani Sachi Navuchena, and Sachi Shangunamashi to this.
So we can also call it like for training as well, as mentioned in the sutras. So there are the 4 laws.
Then Sachi Tomboteno. Ronki Choa Ronki Topa Acid. Shusenchi Nepama Pomba Acid. Nijidaki Chela Chopapo Acid. Zimig Zima Pomba Acid. Ni suggestion to this.
So the 4 so we are namely the examining your own faults, and then the second is never to criticize bodhisattvas, and then the 4th is never to get attached to the donors or the households, and the 4th is to abandoning the harsh speech.
Jezanga that name ta tombo del tsawa del kanin sunsena ronki chowa ronki matona chipi zuchi chima she sepi dishi janta ronki chowa la
So the first one, which is examining your own faults, so that's about which you find in the verse 31, which read, if you don't examine your own errors, you may look like practitioners, but not act as one. Therefore, always examining your own errors, rid yourself of them. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas.
That tendon at Shitona Kole Laure de Sha, that nonji not gender tang, I don't say, Susi no, Trawa, Kandechi, Yemete, Suzuru, Sembal, so Tachine, Tachichi, Sunguyores. So, the meaning of this verse is quite is quite self-explanatory. It is what it's saying here is that we must always they're saying that it's important to try to always to know to recognize our own like a faults or our own mistakes or the errors, and trying to through our own through the our self observations. Then Chawata ni ta lame mi ta dingiste lame mi ta Camboda ni ta Geshe the nig dezi chipig mi to then data is so sell Dorje Boji Chene Matuna ani Tela ni Shitani chipi mi or any $10 malala ni chima in but ni sheshoek Tanyanga Chimboyoris Goris.
So the first piece of advice is particularly very relevant to those who who have some sort of name as a scholars or as a teachers, and because it's saying that if they should be if they lack this self knowledge of their own fault, their own weaknesses, and their own mistakes, then it is then it's saying that then it's very likelihood that they may even though they may appear like a masters, like a great scholars, but actually what they really are, so is really is on the contrary. Yes.
That sugar ni titulata Tandigo Yanga is a car Jeshua Rola Chipi Miji Yawachi, Tani Momomboji social Ichida, and it Tewada, and it Nichi Dizala, Runya Wuta, she was inside son, it is Poponda was Lene, and a Chima in Batani, and she had the Ningayoris and Gores.
So the people, so those with some sort of some social status of being a teacher or being like a scholars, so they have so because of their status, so there's a lot of there are others who may place the trust in them, who may show respect to them, and then because of these, so they can easily fill their mind with the pride, and so therefore it is very easy to to forgetting about their own the faults and their own weaknesses, and so therefore in this way they can easily make mistakes or the errors.
That nigati tela Nishitong Rini Carisana, the Nichipi Junior Secretary, Chipatanilla, Social Yolanda, Yete, me yete mewa sosu hako sosu hako na ya ne ta sosu pesha da ne ta na je me da tani gi che da sosu so ti ta ngona ise gro ta nga zo o tani gi che da ne chi shen gi ji ri ji yo res
So with with regard to those people, so we will find two types. There are some who actually are conscious that they don't have enough or a sufficient knowledge and the qualities. Even though that the society or the large number of other people view them as lack, but they are conscious of that. But however, in order to they maintain they're trying to pretend that they're possessing all these qualities. So with the motivations to accumulate wealth and to the money and so forth.
Anita, ya richi la runi la yetem to nyonyo la sopa mena yo mea te sosi hama kowa che runi chipizi yunbi jinze chi pasho wa te tiga shivoji kiyo da ichi chidi tsala ta nga shivoji insare soso chene ne ya chi inramanda she dengi ane tini rini yunga isa res.
And then, of course, there are others of the same similar peoples with the social recognitions. So who actually are not aware of their own that they have some fault, that they do not possess the qualities that as the other people are believing in them, and so however because they received a lot of praise and the acknowledgement from the others, so they somehow which may cause them to believe, cause them to think that they may have all those qualities, and just the assuming and that they may have all these qualities, and then trying to be to teach, to give advice or teach others, whatever that they comes in their mouth, which and which may not really accord with the actual the meaning of the teaching and so forth.
Ancheza aneta tombotela ngati sosolo ete mewa hako na yo tani pi sosotini jinoga chedo tani shede ya tani tela ani tashi de 가르스는 파쇼왕이네 이치치 녜게 되는 다들 도제zo 개들이 아니 도제 로몽보더니 도제zo더니 예텐드 문디더니 지네 도제zo야 보레드나 이치zo야 보레면드나 이치 모조스네 아니 드리시지 같이 모르세요 고사주 우승다 아니 그만에 있는 고사주 우수시질라 자노더니 뭐 가지시거니 자노르더니 그 자와이 유소나오라더니 칠람다시 엔로딩이더니 근데 저를 다 고사주고지 다시 나오지 여러에 습살라 네 고사주가 다 다시 다 저런 종이네 로주제 저를 아니 시에데 덴바레 니네 치레데 문도 따네 아니 대소 그러마도 시 말 다시 지 말했으니 드니승도 하는 드니라고 진짜레스 다시 소소기네 파쇼기네로
So in order to not be deceived or exploited by such such peoples, then who who have a fault, who have errors which they may be aware of or they may not be aware of. So to in order for us to avoid those people, so that we we don't place all our the trust, give all our trust in them. So the best way, the best is to first of all to try to educate ourselves about the dharmas, and then also to we just the examining and analyzing what you hear from them are correct or not, and are really these are in accord with your understanding of the Dharma or not, or checking checking out about them with others and so forth. So in this way, if we examine that's those people for over a certain period of time, then we can get some sort of ideas about who they really are. And so in relation with these, once in a there's someone asked question to His Holiness Dalai Lama that apparently there was some very well-known Chinese masters who's been very become the well-known figure, and have been teaching, and then this person asked His Holiness Dalai Lama, whether this the master is really a true master or not. How can we find out? How can we know that is the true master or not? So His Holiness gave the advice that the best is same thing. You the study and about the Dharma yourself, and then also put the word of that the master into test. See whether it's really correct or not, whether that's really what you hear from master is the accord with it, the teaching of Dharma or not. So he said that's all you can do. This, and his son says there's other than this, there's nothing I can help you.
Tandi kola nga choti kan lora ga sanan ting kola ni shenyi te chikala ni shenyi tombo ten tsala ni to che ga ya ni ko she je resra te chi ba cha res.
So what is said here has some connections, relationship with the the teaching on guru devotion, or on relying on the guru, which we come across early on this in this text. So it's very similar to that. So all we find even in the guru the relying as part of the relying on the guru, spiritual guru, that we find that how important for one to not to rush into into choosing the guru, but one must take a time to examine and see that the person is the right for one or not.
Tani patela ta rongi ge mashewa ta rongi ju hama kone ne chi she dinge to la ta so sambal no jinde ne to che so sel kar tang de ne so le chamba tela tene le ka kar chi de ne dindi ge chamba te ya ne je kan la ne tene shun jon de ne je ya po la tene shun jon de onan de cho do she do dindi ge tene shun jon de o dindi ji ne no jinde le ba Dorje
and also to to for those who lack this the awareness of your own what fault, what mistake you have, and then to really to then to the for the best way for them to then to recognize your own fault, your own mistake is really to always observing your own thoughts and the deeds, and then trying to the investigating the how if you whether if you follow certain thoughts or the deeds, what are the consequences that which will the result from that, and whether such consequences are really are good or not. So in this way, so you'll be able they will be able to recognize, to have some sort of sense of discriminations of our own thoughts and the deeds, whether they are positive or negative. So.
Ontandi tsawe kasala ni shita ni chi shinge tene pa jajo le ma to shen ni ta chaso nonjene su sembal to che chene ni ta kanda deje she sa isa deje ngone demba shi ngone pa sen to che ko yesares.
So so the in the this first the training or the dharmas, so which was mentioned in the context of those who are in the position of teaching dharmas and so on. But however, the same dharma or the training is also really relevant to all of us who once who are on the who follow the dharmas too. So we can also find it very beneficial if we apply the same to ourselves, so that we can also recognize our own fault and then this free ourselves from this the pretense of our faults.
Ontan deling is teaching it in the Jagze Karisana, teaching it to la Nichilupa Sona, Corona teaching it to Kamutseta, Tsera Mumbojila Pa, Lolubal teaching and not touching Muzo Reserva. This is teaching it in the Janisuyan.
So in here, the teaching is really directed to those who who follows, who practices the dharmas, and because if if they do not apply these teachings, these training in the practice, then how they can easily even not only they can do something like a wrong actions themselves, but as well as they can mislead the other other peoples by giving the wrong advice or the instructions also.
Ni lama ya poji, ni rishet dijila ya poji ni yude sa resra. Ani nonji na lama te chita tsama zoya la chita gawo menge. Ani tindijin sa res. Ine ya nimachi la ani Quran ta nonji Quran la ta chewa pidinge mala saji te dinge jida de yungi sidisa la. Ani ta kisho ke ne ya la. Ani tsama che no shino chike ta inde la chewa ya po pyu. Tadi pa tsamachi ne koron delma judicala. Tapi shate koron shate nonjite mandawa pe noandawa sewo ya pojire de res. Tani koron sen to chezone. Ta triki de cheke ya kare nas. Jinse 대선은 또 되살아니 다들이 지도 용거요. 와서 지도 용 되살아 니텔 펠레 차야가 쳇다. 아니 드니 체렌도 손에 다들 셈바티 때 마리와렌도 손에 니 셜로 마안도네 니 탈라트로 그 용이 쳇도도 이제 걸 시에 너무 시에네 드니 그비 이때 지제 라 탈라자글세네 드니 손에 녀네 드니 제가 로지시에요 그래서
So there's one story which you might have heard before. So this is the once there was one practitioners who who was living in a cave, and then on one particular day, so he he knew that his donor are coming, paying visit to him, and so therefore he kind of normally he was not fond of really tightening up or keeping his room or area clean. But however, on that particular time, so because he know that his donor is coming to visit him, so he really tidied up his room, cleaned outside, and then not only that, when he in his room, in his cave, so he set up the altar really very beautifully, and then on the day, in the morning of the day that his the donor is coming, so he was sitting on in the bed, so he kind of suddenly this question arises, why today he made his own room look so pleasant, and all the offering arrangement all so beautiful. Why he did all that? So then it occurred in his mind that the only reason was because he was expecting his donor today, and then which of course he realized that was totally wrong in the motivation. So therefore, so upon that, so he went out, and then picks so like a handfuls of all the dust and everything filled, and then he throw everything in his altars and in his room everywhere. He make a huge mess.
제장다 다티 콜트는 더니 다 사제니 봐 아니 요새지니 봐뭐 bomba 생에들라 네 자와제나 니무 기자세 젠도기 니팔리나 도냐 냥지피 태와첼라시피 구조기 니파마마 자셀로레 이숨도스.
So that the stories give some sort of the illustrations of how to if you want to take the practice to the heart, what you do. And now the second dharma or the trainings, so which as mentioned in the sutra, so which is to never to criticize, bodhisattvas. So it says here in next verse 32, if through the influence of disturbing emotions you point out the faults of another bodhisattvas, so you yourself are diminished, so don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. This is the practice of bodhisattvas.
다티 텐도 가르치고 가르잖아. 네 소소니 녀무 반대죠. 셰동다 맞아. 드니 공기가. 아니 얘라 녀빠 매나요. 될 녀빠 요거리 했으니 녀빨리 왔다. 제와다니 파주대니 대화 침몰라 싶이더니 되지 쇼주 선바더니나. 네 다 로냐다 담마제 지말 녀빠 하와 될래 조니 다 녀빠 채와. 제네니 소소 세노나 좀 냐노. 어떤 이어리스 거레스.
So in this verse, so we find that how sometimes out of out of desires, out of the influence of desires, or anger or pride, that we can we will criticize, we will criticize or despise other people, other beings. And so despising or criticizing other being is a very negative, very destructive actions, and which can result in a great deal of harm upon ourselves. And then it's saying here, and the more harm, more damage that we can do to our own self is if that the person who we criticize, if that person is a Bodhisattvas, one who have somebody who is on the path of the great vehicle, and then because of that, the person you're criticizing is a great being, is like a bodhisattvas. So therefore, the negativities that you accumulate from that, and which means the consequences, the extent of consequences that that you will face is very severe loss.
Paropi sigra pashuangti shigi shewada ani shigi shewa zongla tene ni nongla yete samarisene ani tini gnyapa linyang mares kanjina ta shunju samba inanda ta tuto singirwa tso ani shigi shewa la ta bena jitsumle suwa nojire kowe katana kowachi katana koranya mando tongde ko korwa katana ko nyamando tongirse hora 제장아 드니 루지 시 시월 때네 네 파쇼를 시제요 말해서네 안에 드니 숨어요 그래서
so we have to be careful of really to making judging others other beings on the basis of their own their external the deeds, their external conduct or behaviors, and because it's that which their external deeds, the behavior really don't necessarily resembles the who they really are, and so especially in the case of bodhisattvas or some siddhas or practitioners, then it is their external behavior could be very outwardly, they can be very ordinaries, and in the case of the great siddhi like Milarepas, who in the eyes of those people in his time, at one time he was just like a crazy man. That's what he is. But however, from the point, from the eyes of the Milarepa, then of course the world, people in the world are crazy, and so therefore this in here. So what we have to reminded is to not to criticizing others on the basis of what they are externally, how they are doing to us.
네 ngama zipote wo nyong chu chu che pesha ya pot singa ya che Geshe chigla nga zurupa Geshe tani shi koron ngama nyong chu chu che ane pesha ya pot ta wa che pesha ya pot shin shin wa che ta koro shon se tani chi sari pesha shira ma ta wa che de zi ji pe do da son ro na chi tani ro che ro ding ji yo res 논지 못서 따사달다 꽃이지 친도 가오나시 파슈테 바 개보나고지 통고요 그래서 이내는 니마치라 코란토 션세트 라겐 겐고트니시 나 아니 맹고노 지름보지 그때소서 대지디살라 코랑이네라 라게테 말라 유문드로피 짐바도 저건가 샤는 트라튼서 제타야들이 문디스 이내래 파슈테 다와 로조네 딜라게테 요포잖아 또 크리티 레와시라요 말이스 이내래 드니가 니제소 그나 세슈세그나 드닌두스 이내 콜트니 문디스텐자 실시에와라 드니드니라고 레샤스 드니가 숭은두스
So like if I share with this like the stories, real story which I heard, once there was one Geshes, who lamas who was quite quite good at what he's doing in terms of his study, and he's doing very well, and as well as the practice he's seems to be quite doing well. Whereas then there was another monk who's his neighbor, who normally who's very rough kind of monk, very who do not pay any much attention to the study, and doesn't look like he does any practice or any study. And then at one time, then the nearby one of the very old monk who fell very sick, and then somehow he's that neighbor monk who went to really to serve that old monk who's sick, and who had to because he was so sick that he has to do everything for that, cleaning up and do everything for, and he's been to that old monk, and he had been doing that for long time, and this when the other monk who's doing well and who normally think that his other monk was very bad, and was really shocked him, was very surprised that that how could you do such a real practice to looking after, taking care of the other in such a way that he realized that how weak himself that that there's no way that he felt that he could do the same of looking after that old monk as his other one did. So so there are so many such the real story which can see who show who's the real practitioners.
onda ngazo pejana te 시동 시도드니 여러 시도 실로 따라 치면 내가 말해서 노루 치찬주 시도라다 린라면 되와 노루 치나 차나요 실로네 빠따디 잘 치면 주나거든 야 실로네 치찬 노루 치면 주다네 는 라면다 여대로 테노지 미노라야 아니 시기시와라 정라 네 따지요 말했는데 순구여래서
So there's regarding the qualities or the type of the peoples, so they use an analogy of a fruit, like just as when you there's a fruit, with regard to the fruits, so there are so many different types of fruits, which there's some fruit which may externally, outwardly appear to be ripe, but inside really they're raw, they're not ripe. But whereas the other who opposite, they are the externally not ripe, but when you inside is all ripe. So therefore the like this likewise. So the people that are also like that, so what we see externally is not only the shows who they really are.
테나지가네 템바촌네 가르친 거 같으는 돌래 나도 간다위 체중기 구석 체중 마샤테 뇽반지 따레스 대 가르치는 때뭐 코너서 이나네 내는 리스는 체주는 시에 터그래서와 구조 파티 되면은 된 시엔데요인데 이 예르스네 스라 체주니가 말했습니다. 같이 체주와이나 네 체주한테 다 시엔도 오질 체주들이 파주올 시에메와이나 아니 소소가 세문양 그래스네. 아니 드니 숨고요레스.
Even the Buddha himself said that said in one sutra where it says that the I and those who are who are like me, can can guess or can guess the other peoples. But any individual being, if they one individual being, then the guessing or judging the other individual, then he said, doing such is the cause of the cause of like a decline, declining of your own virtues. So therefore, from this Buddha's statement, so we can also understand that we really to fully know the other beings. So you really have to be yourself have to be fully like a Buddhas, because otherwise if we make a judge of the others, judge of the other being, and if we we can easily make a mistake, and then as a result of making these if you making such a mistake, then can be a cause, a serious cause of diminishing one's own virtue and merit.
Shew tomba kunaye masheshi isra shew tomba la mepana ne tawe yupi me du nuji nendala shinda sapa shagose
kasaba kewa tomba
shew tomba kunaye masheshi kunaye hakuma chiwache ne shew tomba kumala masheshi ne tel mepana ne tawe yupi me du nuji tala tangoji tala se karsa me tungu zere tingol tala na tuna degrwa tig nuji ta te 타와티 골테 메요와 멜티틸 탈라탈 라반초나 라파테 미기츠와 나지가 아니 시오토 마칼라이 하마고 타칼라이 코시오토 마이 하마고 질라데와이나 아니 테누지 초그레스
숭일수다 제 탐제 제르미스모
이제 도제제바
수레
자타지
자잡잖아
뭔데 탈라사질이야다
노스 다시 가서 강라 가서
shewu tomba kuna ye masheshi
no
shewu tomba la mepana tawe yupi me du nuji nendala shinda zapa shagos.
The Tsongkhapas, one of the principal the disciple of Tsongkhapas, Gyaltsey, Rinpoche, who he remarked in his text that there is a kasakibu tamakale mishela.
Kuna ye mashishi.
Yeah.
Kuna ye hamakoche.
Yeah. So there is no.
Mande he jajundi.
No.
Simande wache. No. Shewu toma ko shewu toma yimba hamakoche. No. Kola mepa shewa hina. Ani nguji tale nguji metune ti tala choy ti lapan chosona me lapan sogro ten nguji ga ani soso nyepa chimungi gres. So
since you we do not know who is a noble person and who is not, and so therefore making or criticizing the others can be like the reaching our hand to like ashes, which has a underneath, which has a fire, buried, buried in like a fires. So it will burn. So that also explains the danger that we face by criticizing others.
제정아 다원아 아니 현주 샘발라 아니 드리기 시엔다 오제나 다 컨트롤 기세난다 드리기 시엔 제와이나 아니 녀바 체제 가르세나 현주 샘베티가 링와 이어서 차송데 아니 나주스그와 생제 통제 제도 동조에 스테인자 생제 통제가 시외가 잘온다 시외가 전하고 나지 드리기 차고 그래서 대인자 고 콜라 드니 시제나 보던 드니 컨트롤 그 지제와이나 녀바 치위 지세나데 드니 나오지스로
so one of the reasons why the criticizing bodhisattvas, they will result in greater amount of fault, is because this is because the bodhisattvas, the bodhisattva is someone who have devoted all their life, all their like body, speech, and mind, all for the to serving for the all other sentient beings, and so they have basically given their entire life to the all sentient beings. So therefore, they the literaries. So they are almost like they are the common property. They're someone who represents all the sentient beings. So therefore, it is said that if you accrue, you're making greater errors by criticizing towards bodhisattvas.
제장안에 바로 보때 전주 선발로 컨트롤하고 세워이나 소식 하소스 비그 게살아서 봐 쫑로 그래서 디 쫑생이데니 소식 하소 비 게사데 메와렌로 그래서 드니 게자 말해서 아니 게와텔니 페나 세시마타 오지라 니 시와야 보지래 레나 오지래 게빌레지에나 아니 전주 선발지로 컨트롤 사와이나 드니 게빌레데 세시마타가로 마마타와체 아니 파 주림보체네 아니 주린 또야 드니치 그래서 드니 송요래서
so it is said that if we generate in anger towards bodhisattvas, then then this will destroy a huge amount. Destroy the amount of like the merit that we have accumulated over over many lifetimes. And now if you think of the meaning, the implication of when you said our anger destroying the merits, so what that mean is that it can doesn't necessarily mean that the merits is completely gone, but rather it can also mean that sometimes like delaying the result, the yielding of the result of our virtuous actions. It can also mean in that way.
사도 런지 두바다 쇼주지 산라 수비가 너 두바 시가라 모터와 지요이나 아니 드니 시제체나니 드니 산라 두바라 수바니 체시말라 마도 마시와다 드니 바 주지야 드리마도 게와데 맨로야 드니 게자인사 말레스.
So it's not the destruction of virtues by anger, so doesn't necessarily means that we that the virtue will become nullified, completely gone and extinguished, So it can, but it can't, because of that, it can cause the result of our virtues to delaying, producing is a result, in delaying time. So, for example, if we are about to, if you are close to gain certain realizations of the spiritual path or to certain ground in this lifetime, but then due to the force of our anger, then instead of this love, then we don't gain in this life, but maybe we may gain in the future life.
Tenoji da Pajowate Seno Kase Chena in Sozo Shije Chawaina, Sozol Nyepa Chewon Jua, Tenajiga, Pajowate Seno Kase Chena, Telani, Ti Gewala, Jess Yuno Shawaina, Ti Tsejio, Sozani, Gewa, on the Jachimunyu, yes.
So just as the more the merit that the other persons have, other person to whom we generate anger, Rag has, and then the more distractions, we will be more virtues will be destroying. So in the same way, if we create our virtues towards that towards the person, then again the greater that that person is, then we would also accumulate a greater the amount of merits.
Chizanga Pajowati, Karisana Pajowati, ni Getsatel Jess Yuru Shawaina, Runichi Telani, Kuntroda, Dresenda, Trondula Sopa, Kanga Ma Tamewachi Grova, Tenzani, Jermuchi, Muchi Betso Chunchula Tene, ni Senoch La Chamboch Zuala, Zubi Gewate Karasena, Jess Yuru Gewate Resene, Attening in the Zuyo.
So, we can it is said that the rejoicing in the virtue or the merit of other beings, so is a great way of multiplying one's own virtue and merit, and so again, of course, if we rejoice in the merit of someone, who have like a merit of a great being, who have a infinite amount of merit, then we would accumulate, greater amount of merit, or the and also so this the rejoicings or admiring the others, in their virtuous action and so on. So it is a great way of increasing one's own virtues. Or even the Tsongkhapa said that that the rejoicing is the cause of accumulating a great amount of merit, but with a little amount of effort, the exertions requirements loss.
Da tene meta saje sambanda una chi leno do. Ta jidog ki chala chopapu asing iterend is.
So now we finish the first two of these four dharma or the four trainings. Now the third one, so which is to overcoming the attachment, attachments towards towards the donors or the households.
Tani tsawa chena nye ke ungi pensi tse chi shins. Tisang gombi shawa nyon jebi, nzashi chan to jito, chan no la, ne chopo punga jase long le yin sin tani suyo dis.
So was the 33 of verse 33 says, a reward and respect cause us to quarrel and make, is that right? Am I looking in the right place? Yeah, and make hearing, thinking and meditation decline. So for this reason, give up attachment to the households of friends, relations and benefactors. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas.
Tendo karisiko warsina ta ngazo chitong pa chawa nong pensa inanda, lama pensa inanda, gemba pensa inanda, tendriga nita jidaga tendo la. Ta sozo nyeka chetara, jidaga tendo la, tani tsewa maja sungu yores. Nyeka ungi gani ta jidaji ta pena gemba nyi la jidaji miye na jidaji tenda gemba nyi de tse shira maja se tani se gores ta trawa inanda trawa nyi inanda lama inanda rowa gemba inanda ti tse chewa ina shencha kare yorse na ta trawa suso ina suso ki tiso gasa de nyon rogre gemba ina gemba rogo tiso gasa de nyon rogres tani se gores.
So this the verse has some relevance, relevancy to the lamas or to just of many ordinaries, monks and nuns, who. Or even to some, monasteries, who depend upon the support or the benefactors, for their the resources, and so therefore there is if they are not careful, then they can have disputes or fight over over these benefactors. There are some monks who might, or the lamas who might, worry that there may be some other monk who might steal their benefactors, and all the monasteries, can also have the same. If they don't take the measurement, then some other monastery might steal their benefactors. So. And so what is saying here? So if you monks and nuns, or if the monasteries, so if they show such a concern over such things, then this can be a cause of this can bring like a damage to the monasteries, and like even in fact it can cause to lose their own benefactors, and most importantly to their reputations as a center for learning and for practice.
Tritse Jangitana Mukoya Rovas, the knee, the Didanita, Chinsu Penzo, that Takanoji Pejani Resra, or the Zolan, Tsemajas, the El Chapachimu Machis, or Tenisunguris.
So on the of course on the surface, so this verse is quite clearly directed towards the monasteries, towards the monks and nuns and high lamas, and because there are such cases, so where the lamas and the monks, they fight against each others, to in relation with their for fear of losing their supporters, their benefactors, and so in the so the bottom line is, so they are fighting because they are all have a attachment over the benefactor, because they have a attachment, they have a strong concerns towards the worldly reputations and the worldly the possessions and so forth. So therefore, the the instructions here, so is really send us such a warning towards the monks and the nuns and the lamas.
Tati Garzena, and that Dale Chopachimo Machi res, Temata Yaji Gombada, Nilamalane, Benjo Gumares and Tinisigo Maresrova, Zolatai Lama Yapotan, Gambaya Potanil, Benjo Shunaya, Ne, Tamomon Pento Endoa, Pembo Benjo Kazishunayo, Pal Pento at the Jedi.
So of course the focus is on the those who are involved in the monasteries, is on their mental attitudes, which is which is saying here that the attitude should not be the over concerns with the with the wealth and with the possessions and so on, and also with the living conditions. That should not be there. They should not have strong. So what is the implication here is they should not have such strong attachment or attractions towards such the material wealth and possessions. And so of course it doesn't having said this, so this is not to say that the monastery doesn't need any support, or there's no need of such wealth and the material conditions in the monasteries. But of course there is a need, and when we fulfill that, when we support that, we facilitate that, and then it can of course has a great it serves really well for the communities, the Sangha communities to perceive their learning and the practice. So therefore it's a wonderful thing. So this main target is to the instruction here is to say that to overcoming these mental attachments towards wealth and possessions.
Pena talo chachawa ina ani ta jaga lojo gyambat sogani koranzo nyen ko jaga tungset sola ani ta neyo di chesine kanga chudi salani ta penjo channel pe sayak channel pe rupa muso yatni dana koya ni toya ndi srawa.
So like monasteries, not only the facilitate or their own monastic community, but like they also like in this during this pandemic time. So there was it is all true that a monastery, a lot of monastery in India, so they've done a tremendous community, the support to those many local Indians and Tibetans, so many people there who were in great hardships, and the monastery, a lot of monasteries made a huge contributions to support these local communities. So this is all because the monastery were able to do that because of the support that they have received from the benefactors and so on. Okay, we'll leave it here. Thank you.
전주 생주로 뭐제 마제 번호 제제제 시와니 뭐 매바 군에 군은 배워